Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fed Razak at CMTrading. Today is June 30th, 2014, and today is the first day of the last day of the month. Looking at the economic calendar for today, just briefly looking at the Eurozone, we have a CPI number that's coming out. That is a major number. It's coming out at 11 o'clock South African time. It is a major core CPI number, and like I said, it is a major number. So we should see a nice rotation in the Euro, Euro USD, Euro GBP. So I would look for some volatility today. Later today, we have a Canadian number. It's a GDP number. Canadian dollar has been down 172 pips this past month versus the dollar, and so it should be interesting with what happens there. Looking just briefly at the Euro, well, as you can see, the Euro is not doing much. It's floating at 136.50-ish level after being tumbled last month. You see, we didn't do much of a bounce this month so far. We're just below the 136.50 level, which is a major resistance level at these levels. So one or two things today to look for. If we do go above this 136.65 and clear it above 36.80, we could definitely try to hit 137 or 137.20. Okay, if we do not, then I'm afraid that we'll be testing these low levels again at 135.80, 136, and challenging maybe 135.20. So keep an eye on the Euro USD today. It should see some major volatility. The GBP Japanese yen, looking at the month, just as a review, we rallied something like 289 pips. It's at the top of its range, as you can see here. Nevertheless, it's not breaking higher. It hasn't broken this 174 level. So looking on the daily, we kind of tapered off. But again, like I said, we're just hovering above these upper levels. So we did sell off a little bit here the past week, but by and large, we're up 288 pips on this. Looking on a monthly chart, just to give you a perspective of where we're at, we had a major rally this past year. So anytime they want to take the GBP down, it just gets stronger. And you see it across the board, not just against the Japanese yen, but if you look at the USD, GBP USD also, okay, on its top highs here. So there is major resistance for the GBP as we hit higher levels. Here you can see we broke this level right at 167.5, and then we tested it again, and then we rallied right above 170. So ultimately, it's very strong. Looking at looking at a weekly chart already, a monthly chart, excuse me. Just so you could see some of the resistance from previous. Okay, as we're holding right here, and now we're holding right here. If we hold this upper level, especially if we break this 172.5, we could definitely challenge 177.5, fill this gap. Again. We may just retrace a little bit, and if we do retrace, we'll probably challenge this 167.5. So depending on the location where we'll go, these two may get filled within the next few months. But ultimately, looking at the GBP, it has been very strong. So before I would short it, before I would think to short it, I would really check myself out and make sure that everything was in my edge before I do so. And even more so, I probably wouldn't short it with such big size, just because it has been so strong. Looking at the gold, we've kind of sold off a little bit from 113.17. We rallied last week to almost 13.24, and then now we've sold off. So like I said, we tapered off this. We filled the gap that we were pretty much being up from. If we look at a longer time frame, let's just fix that up a little bit. We filled this gap that I anticipated that would fill this thing right here, and then we took it even further. Let's just draw a pen so we see what we're talking about. Now this gap right here, we filled this gap at this point, and now we've taken it up higher. This tells me there's lack of direction. Okay, we're making higher lows, lower highs, higher lows. This is something that looks like it's creating a wedge formation, and that could either be at this stage it doesn't look like it's a bearish wedge formation, maybe even a bullish wedge formation. So keep an eye on the gold. Okay, definitely been beat up over the past year. Has a lot more room to go in terms of regaining some of its luster, regaining some of its sell-off. Looking at the Dow Jones again, nice bounce this morning. Not much of a bounce, really, to tell you the truth. Excuse me, it's not nice of a bounce. It's a 10 pip bounce, 15 pip bounce. It's not really a big deal, especially for something like the Dow. It has been summer trading, and we're in the heart of it. We're entering July 4th weekend with the holiday season. There are some symbols that will be affected by the holiday season, so I would really encourage you guys to look up the CFD calendar to see what's being traded this Friday and what's not, so that you can protect your positions. And lastly, just oil. Oil is actually just slowly trickling down after all the news, after all the dust has settled. As you can see, not a lot of volume, but it has trickled down. So we should enter some sort of a support level at these levels. This is a previous resistance, 104.5. We're about 70 cents away from that. So at this stage, I would see some sort of resistance, maybe a little bit of a bounce to 1.5. But all in all, it's somewhat has tapered down due to the economic and the political conditions in Ukraine and in Iraq. So there has been some quieting down. This is Razak at CMTrading. I wish you guys a great trading week. Thanks. Bye-bye.